Wagwan bitches, it's Multiplier here, and today I'm going to give you lots of useful knowledge that you probably don't know. It's all about audio effect racks in Ableton. Now, I don't personally use them a lot myself, but when I do use them, they are awesome. I'm going to start using them more because they are amazing once you know how they work. It's not that easy, but I'm going to tell you how. So let's do it. I'm going to give you an example of probably one of the most useful audio effect racks as far as DJing goes, because it really demonstrates some of the power behind it. So we've got a very simple loop from a minimal house sample pack. Lovely stuff. Let's bring out an audio effect rack to demonstrate how it works. So there's this really cool one under performance and DJ. It is called Frozen Smear. Bring it out, and basically what audio effect racks are is it's a way of doing parallel processing, and then you can do some nice things with that parallel processing. So basically parallel processing, you've got an input, in which case it's going to be kind of just our normal loop from this audio track, and then we've got various layers of processing kind of in parallel, so they all happen kind of independently, and then you kind of have an output which you can kind of then mix a combination of the parallel layers. So if you have a look in the audio effect rack, then what you'll find is if you click this button here, this one in the middle, click it 10 times, not 11, click it 10 times, and then what you'll find is you've got these 3 layers, and these are your layers of parallel processing. So if you look at dry, there's nothing going on because it's the dry signal, hence dry. And then if you click short, you've got basically a whole bunch of effects, which is one layer of processing. So we've got a bit of chorus, reverb, and EQ8. And then under long, it's another set of processing. So in this case, we've got chorus, bit of reverb, EQ8, ping pong delay, and a limiter. So 3 different types of processing. Granted, one of them is not really doing anything. And then the cool thing about that is you can basically hit this chain button, bring, and then this brings up the chain selector. This is where you can mix between various layers of your kind of parallel processing. So if we just kind of, basically I should probably tell you how the macro knobs work first. Rewind. Right, so on the left-hand side, we have 8 knobs. These are called macro knobs. And they're basically by default assigned to, if you have an Ableton controller, kind of these 8 knobs here on Ableton Push, or an APC40, those little 4 over here. You can map them to anything, and each one of these knobs is mapped to something in this audio effect rack. So in this case, we have stuff like reverb and long freeze, short freeze, stuff like that mapped to the effects. But the most useful one is this one on the top left called short long. And basically, if I go, it moves. And then if you have a look kind of around here, this little orange thing is moving from 0 to 127. It's 127 because that's how many kind of MIDI values there are, just if it seems a bit random. But yeah, 0 to 127. And it moves it around there. And then what this is doing is it's kind of fading in and out various layers of this parallel processing we're doing. So if you have a look at dry, it kind of, at the far extreme, we have none of dry, and then it kind of fades in. So you see how it's kind of light blue, that's it fading in, and then it's dark blue, so it's at full volume, and then it fades out again. Similarly, if you look at short, at the far, click something, undo, change LFO amount, there you go, cool. So click short, don't have to click short, just move this knob around. At the far left extreme, we have short is kind of full volume, and then it fades out into nothing, and then in the middle, it kind of starts to fade into the bottom layer long. So you can probably guess what's going to happen, but I'm going to demonstrate it. So this would be really useful when DJing. So we'll just hit play. The dry signal, lovely, lovely stuff. And then we'll move the knob. Just mixing in some of that short set of processing, that kind of short effect. And mixing out the dry. So it's all short. And then we can mix it back to the middle where it's back to dry. And obviously you can do a similar thing with the right hand side. So it basically just allows you to kind of mix between these various layers of processing. And then it's up to you kind of how you use this potential. Obviously this is a DJing example, but another good example is I remember one guy I saw set up an audio effect rack to basically cycle through various presets. So he would have each layer set up to be a different preset for something, and then he could just cycle through each preset. So you could do lots of different creative things. It's up to you kind of how you use it. But yeah, it's pretty cool. And if you want to actually change this kind of fade in and fade out points, I should probably tell you that, shouldn't I? It's kind of obvious. You just kind of hover your mouse and click and drag things about. Hover your mouse, click and drag things about. You can figure it out. It's not difficult. But that's the basic idea. It's pretty amazing stuff. And then if you want to say map this kind of stuff yourself, you just click the map button. Everything in green you can map. So you can have a look at this kind of green chain selector bit. It says short long. That means because it's mapped to short long. If we just right click and did remove mapping to chain selector, it's also, this button's also being mapped to some other things, so we'll leave that map for those things. If we want to now remap that chain selector to short long, because the mapping thing is selected, we just click the green, click map, and there you go, it's mapped, and then you can go out of mapping mode. It's nice and easy, but that's the general idea behind audio effect racks. This allows you to do some really creative things. On top of that, it can also just be a really nice way just to save your default chain of something. So let's say you have your favorite mastering chain or a set of vocal processing effects you always use, like a vocal processing chain. You could just set that up as an audio effect rack. So I'll show you how that works. So let's just say we had a series of effects. Let's drag some out in a really logical way. Bring, 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 bring. Right, stop working. Right, cool. Drag. This didn't work out at all. Right, so we dragged out a perfectly crafted, let's put that to there, perfectly crafted audio effects chain that maybe we always use on vocals. So we'll just click at one end, hold shift, click the other end, do that again, click one end, hold shift, click the other end. So now they're all selected. Right click and then group, and then that basically that group button lumps it up as an audio effect rack. Lovely stuff. And then you just hit the save button and just call it save. And then there you go. It's a preset saved. Whatever you want to use it for. Many things, I imagine. Similar thing happens with instrument racks, except instrument rack is basically just the same as an audio effect rack, except it has an instrument in it. So you can do different layers of instruments just with a similar sort of idea. You can also nest audio effect racks within audio effect racks. So it's like some sort of Inception shit going on where you lose track of where you are in terms of time and space. But if in doubt, just remember, fall off a chair into a load of water. That's how you determine where you are in the audio effect rack chain. I've been by Multiplier. This has been a very serious tutorial about audio effect racks. Hope you enjoyed.